Good afternoon, families. I'm here to show you a little glimpse of Unit 4 and our homework. So tonight is Monday the 13th, and we are looking at money. Actually, tonight and tomorrow night. I'll just go ahead and do both. Monday night and Tuesday night, we're going to be looking at money. So tonight, you're going to see how many different ways you can make 25 cents, and we actually did that in class today. And then we're adding up quarters. So 25 to 50. Hopefully they remember the 75 cents and then $1. And then from there, they'll have to add up the $1.25, the $1.50, etc. So this is kind of review. We did already have money in a previous unit. And last week we played some money games to kind of remember and review and practice adding up money. So hopefully this is kind of review for them. Fortunately, it does label the pictures because some of them are still getting confused with those quarters, dimes, and nickels, and which is which and how much they're worth. But these are labeled, so you're just adding it together. This is tomorrow night. So they would be writing, the total under each amount. So starting with 25 plus 25 is 50, plus another 10 is 60, plus the penny will get us 61. And it's 61 cents. So they have had homework like this before, so hopefully this looks familiar to everybody. And then on Wednesday, we're getting into some subtraction. This is starting with 100. So we're subtracting double digits from 100. And we're doing the quick drawing method. I know. It's not the easiest. It's not the way we learned it. But it's a good way for them to visualize the place value in subtraction. So here is our 100 square. And if we think about the 100 square, that's really 10 sticks. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so we're changing the 100 square into 10 sticks, okay? And then as you see, they're going to then take those 10 sticks, take one away, and turn it into 10 ones. Now what this does is it helps us to be able to subtract numbers that have, tens and ones. So I took my 100, turned it into 9 10 sticks, and 10 ones. Okay, so now when I'm subtracting, like number 1 is going to have us subtract 19. So I can just take a 10 stick away and take 9 of my ones away. Oops. So then I know I'm left with 8 10 sticks and I'm left with 1. Okay. So I know it feels a little bit tedious to be drawing it out and doing it that way, but it really does help them understand the place value when they are subtracting. Some kids will look at it a little differently and they might want to add up and count up, and that's fine. They might look at 19 and say, well, if I had one more, that would be 20. And then I know 100 minus 20 is 80. And that is completely fine. However their little math brain is going to start working, I am okay with it. We are going to learn all these different methods with subtraction. It just happens that the first night is taking away from 100. And the reason why we've been doing all of this money work is because it kind of helps translate a dollar into, breaking up the dollar into cents. And so we'll be thinking about, 100 cents minus 19 cents, and we can do some games with play money and start to subtract from money. And that's just a nice tangible way for them to see this big number subtraction happen. Okay, so that's Wednesday night's homework. And then Thursday night is just getting into the double digit subtraction. That's not from 100. And you'll start to see a lot of double digit subtraction over the next few weeks, several weeks really. All of Unit 4, and there's like 20 something lessons, is going to start focusing on double digit subtraction. So they have some word problems. I do read through the problems with them, have them really think about it. But at first, I'm not trying to trick anybody. I want them to just know that it's all subtraction and we're working on subtracting. And we're going to do it a few different methods, and you'll see that on next week, which would be Tuesday the 21st, because we do not have school on Monday. So Tuesday's homework is showing you the different methods that we are learning in class. Okay, and so we're going to kind of take those same methods that we learned in addition, but then use it in subtraction. And so if we take the example 38 minus 21, if I'm drawing it out, I'm drawing 10 sticks and ones, okay? And then I'm going to take the 21. So I'm going to take a 1 and I'm going to take 2 of the 10 sticks, okay? So I'm left with a 10, and I'm also left with 7 of the ones. So that's the quick drawing method, okay? That's pretty easy when the top number is bigger, all right? But when we get to something like 74 minus 48, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's my 10 sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4. I do teach them right off the bat that we always start in the ones place. So if you're thinking about dividing this up, I need to do 4 minus 8. But wait a minute. If I only have 4, I cannot take 8 of them away. But I do know that this 10 right here means 10 ones. So I can go ahead and turn it into 10 ones. Okay? Now, I have to make sure I cross that out and remember that that 10 stick is now gone. All right, 1, 2, 3. So I'm left with 6 tens. So now I know that I'm left with the 6 tens. And now I can subtract 8 of these 10 ones. So if I take 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I see that I'm left with 4, 5, 6. So I see that I'm left with 6 ones and 6 tens. All right. We can also look at it the expanded method way. All right. So if I am doing 74 minus 48, that's really 70 plus 4 minus 40 plus 8. And then I start to see, oh, I can't take 8 from the 4. Okay. So what if I took this 70, turned it into a 60 plus 14. So I'm just giving a 10 right over to my ones place. Just like when we drew it out, we gave the 10 over to the ones place. I'm giving this 10 over to the ones place. So now it's become 60 plus 14 minus 40 plus 8. And now I can do it 14 minus 8 and 60 minus 40. Okay. Oh, I think I did a little, okay. There we go. I counted wrong over here. I forgot to take my 4 tens away. That's what I did. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry about that. Left with 2. I went way too fast. I'm trying to make this a quick video for you, and I completely messed up. But I just want to give you some of the visuals, so sorry about that. That is a step. Hey, that's a puzzled penguin mistake that we make in math class, and we talk about it. So yes, I went through and I was so focused on my ones, I forgot to go ahead and subtract the 4 tens. So that's why I had that way off. You probably caught that as I was doing it. And I don't want to start this whole video all over again, so bear with me. All right, so of course, just like with addition, we will get right into that traditional algorithm of ungrouping first, or as we call it, borrowing. And so they will see, 74 minus 48. Now that we've done it with the quick drawing method, we've done it with expanded method, they're really starting to understand the idea of it, the place value of it. And we will start to see that, yes, this 70 is just going to become a 60. And all I have to do is cross it out and turn it into a 6, because that's in the tens place. The 7 really means 70. So now that 6 really means 60. And if I give that 10 over to the ones place, my 4 is going to become a 14. All right, and then it starts to be, quicker, more efficient. That's the traditional algorithm. So it does move along pretty quickly. And so by next week, if you're doing it this way, even right away, if you're doing it right off the bat, whatever works for them is fine. Eventually, we want everybody to get here over the next couple of weeks. But if they need some time to do the quick drawing or the expanded form until they really start to understand the place value behind it, then that's fine too. So then they start to see, starting with the ones place, 14 minus 8, 6 minus 4. And then to check our answers, to make sure we didn't have mistakes, we're going to do them each a couple of different ways. They get a little annoyed with me at that point because they know how to do this and they can do it really quickly. But in class, when they have a whole sheet of subtraction, I make them do each one at least 2 ways. So if they're doing them all this traditional algorithm, next to it, they either need to do expanded form or the quick drawing form to show that they get the same answers. So like when I made my mistake on number 7, I was way off. I had a 66. And then when I did it a different way, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I made a mistake. I forgot to subtract my 4s. So it just gets their brain really remembering each step. And so they're not forgetting things. So they will be doing it a couple of different ways. And then you'll start to just see a lot of practice sheets like this with double-digit subtraction. And then they will get into 3 digits minus 2 digits here. And so they just keep doing the same thing. You borrow from the hundreds just like you had to borrow from the tens. And, starting out the very first day with 100 minus something is really helpful. They do get a little tripped up with the zeros. So when they're doing 200 minus something, it does get really hard because, look, I'm trying to borrow from the tens place, but there's nothing there. So I need to borrow from the hundreds. And by the time I get there, it's hard to remember to go back each step. So I do have them look at this like a 20, and I tell them they can borrow from the 20 and just turn it into a 19 to give that 1 over to the ones place, to give that 10 over to the ones place. So it becomes 10 minus 6 and 19 minus 6. And I feel like that's a little easier than trying to go, 10, make this a 10 and then a 9 and make this a 1. We do cover that and we do go over that just for the sake of place value and understanding where it's coming from. And then I start to say, hey, wait a minute, look at all of these. They're all turning into a 19. I wonder if I can just call this a 19. And the same thing when it's a 100, I can just say, hey, call it a 10. Okay, so it does just make it a little more efficient for them to go a little quicker. And we're going to start to see a lot of word problems as the unit goes on. And some of them are even 2-step word problems. And then here we go at lesson 10. They start to relate this to money again. And so I have 124 cents. Now, if I bought one of these items, I would have to subtract it. So I might buy the globe, and I had 124 cents minus 85 cents. What do I have left? So they're going back to connecting it to money when we are subtracting. So Unit 4 is a little intense, but once they get it, it's really exciting. They feel really confident and proud of themselves that they mastered, 2 and 3 digit subtraction, and some of them even challenge themselves by doing even bigger numbers. So I hope you have some fun with it, and just remind them, all of that growth mindset stuff that we go over in the beginning. If they're making a lot of mistakes, go ahead and show them the mistake I made on that one. Because it does take practice and it takes time, but they will get it, I promise. And as always, if you have any questions, concerns, or anything like that, drop me a note, send me an email, whatever works. All right, thank you all. Bye-bye.